welcome to my newest video where today I'm going to be attempting to build and customize and mod my first ever custom keyboard, and it didn't go smooth, but that's okay. I hope you enjoy. Sorry for keep you guys waiting for so long. If you were waiting, school's hard. Okay, that is all. Let's get on with the video. Alright, so I'm going to be trying something new for this video today. I'm going to be doing some voiceovers. And so the first step I'm going to be doing is unscrewing my keyboard, basically. So I got a kit, so it came with the all assembled PCB case and plate. Because it's my first keyboard, I didn't really want to buy the parts separately, and I just wanted to get a hang of it, you know? So I'm just going to be screwing apart the top part from the bottom half, which is the plate and PCB from the case. And then I have to pry it open. So the next step is to be unscrewing the PCB from the plate. As you can see, the case has been separated from those two parts, but there are still more screws to go. And there's also a battery in the back because this is supposed to also be able to work wirelessly if it's plugged in properly, which I didn't end up doing. And I also already took out the stabilizers because they were atrociously over-lubed and I had to wash them and clean them. Yeah, so there's some lube still on the PCB that you may see, but do not worry about that. It is all okay. Alright, let's do stabilizers. As you can see, I'm just organizing all of them into their separate parts as I've taken apart the stabilizers and washed them. There's the stem, the wire, and the housing. The black part being the stem. And here is the unmodded stem, and this is the modded stem that we're going to be doing to help the stabilizers hopefully sound a little bit better. Now we're going to be modding the stems by clipping off the uneven legs, anything that is sticking out higher or lower than the two stems that we want to be using that are at the same level. That'll be trimming it and trying to flatten it out. If I had a sander, it would be easier, but that's okay. This will do, and that's the result. As you can see, it's like pretty much evened out. And now we're gonna do a band-aid mod on it by cutting a strip of the band-aid that fits the width of the hole in the stem and placing it inside the stem, aligning it with the end of the ramp, and then using some tweezers to stick the rest of it on the inside so that when the wire is put in, it will be more snug and less rattly. Okay, for the lube, I'm gonna be using lube and paintbrush, and I'm gonna be starting off with the housing of the stabilizers. I'm just gonna put a little dollop on that spoon so it's easier for me to access, and just have a paper towel so it doesn't get like the lube everywhere. I'm just gonna be applying it on the inside and all the sides so that when the stem is like going up and down, it's not like scratchy. Next, I'm going to be lubing the stems, which is the black portion that's gonna go inside of the housing. I'm just gonna be putting lube on both sides of the stem that are like flat, not putting it like in the hole where the band-aid is and stuff. And then after that, I'm just gonna be putting them back into the housing. Last thing to lube is going to be the wires. I'm going to be lubing the short ends of each wire as well as the corner and a little bit on the long end from the corner. That's just to ensure that the wire moves smoothly and not scratchily through the housing and stem. And then I'm just going to be reattaching it and reassembling the stabilizers to clip into the board later. For this band-aid modding is just to make sure that the fit is tighter for the stabilizers in the position on the plate. So I'm just going to be taking a strip of the band-aid, the width of the hole where the stabilizer is supposed to go in, and wrap it around the flat edge of each part where the housing will sit, if that makes sense. So just see what I did. And yeah, that should help it be less rattly, hopefully. So I'm going to be using two kinds of foam for this foam mod. Foam is used to usually dampen the sound. I'm going to be putting one thin piece in between the PCB and the plate. This is just like random wrapping foam from something. And then the thicker foam is actually foam from the switch boxes. And I'm just going to be cutting that to size and fitting that in the case because the case is pretty hollow. So when you put it together, the sound should sound better. So for a tape mod, I'm just going to be taking some masking tape and aligning it to the back of the PCB. And I'm putting around 2 to 3 layers. I think it's supposed to help amplify the sound of the switches. And the tape mod is also where things start to go a little more downhill for my build. I forgot to put holes for both the standoffs and the screws, which ended up being a huge pain and I had to end up redoing this, but you're not gonna see that. Just make sure that you make the correct cutouts when you do this on your own if you do it. And then I just put it back together and clipped in the stabilizers, and yeah, time for the switches. It's finally time to lube some switches. These are the Echo Radiant Reds, and I'm gonna be lubing them with some Krytox G0. I'm gonna be using a switch opener to take the switch apart, and hopefully after lubing it will sound a lot better. There are 4 parts. And I'm going to be starting bottom up, so with the bottom housing. I'm going to use a paintbrush and paint lube on both sticky uppy sides, on every side and in the hole, but making sure not to get lube on the gold leaf. And next I'm going to be lubing the spring on both ends and the bottom so that when it springs it sounds nice and not scratchy. And next is using the Julie puller to hold the stem and lubing the stem. It's my favorite part. You just put lube on all sides and like basically everywhere on the stem, you know, on the legs. And then I'm just gonna put it back in the spring, making sure that the long sticking out legs are on the side of where the leaf is, as you can see. And lastly, you just gotta lube the upper housing, and you just take some lube and you put it on all 4 sides on the inside. And once I'm done with that, I just gotta put it back on and make sure that the more empty part is on the side of the gold leaf, because if I put it on backwards, it may break the switch. And that is all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys like my new keyboard as much as I do. Hopefully I can try and push more videos out. I'm aiming for maybe once a month, but I'm going into a new semester again, and that first semester was brutal, and I'm kind of feeling the second one isn't gonna be much better. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys have an amazing new year and holidays, and I'll see you guys in my next video, whenever that may be. Bye-bye.